What's poppin'? What's poppin'? What's good with the family today? I got a dope call-in show for y'all tonight, man. You know, the reparations and the delineation conversation, it has to continue on. I did a podcast last week about a debate that I found very interesting. Tonight, we're going to just go back to some historical context things. I want to talk about Tuskegee counseling people coming to class with bonnets on, with slides on. What does that mean? What does that represent? Let's talk about that name Tuskegee also and the historical context that it has though. But let's get on into the show, man. We're gonna have a dope discussion. The number is at the bottom of the screen if you want to call in and discuss anything. But let's get to it.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The thoughts, views shared here are just that, views. We just conversing, sharing perspective while having fun. So don't take this shit personal, and definitely don't try this at home. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get to it.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.
Now, before we get into the Gavin Newsom has proposed a bill just, I think it was 3 to 4 or 5 days ago, to pass reparations in California in one of the counties. I want to continue playing Martin Luther King videos, reacting to this video that I had never seen before until today. This was a video that was released and recorded the year that he passed away. A lot of people speak bad on Martin Luther King's name at this period in the world. They talk about the integration piece, how he wanted to integrate black people into American society. And, they look down upon him based upon that. But he also spoke before he passed that he felt as if he walked his people into a burning fire. Not too long after that, he passed away. But let's get on into this video because I think this is a very informational video. And let's just do it, man. Let's do it.
So we suffer from a kind of poverty of the spirit, which stands in glaring contrast to our scientific and technological abundance. The problem is, my friends, that we have learned to fly the air like birds, and we have learned to swim the seas like fish, and yet we haven't learned to walk the earth like brothers and sisters. Racial injustice is still the black man's burden and the white man's shame. So wherever we live in America, we have to face the fact honestly that racial discrimination is present. So don't get complacent. Certainly we've made some strides. We made some progress here and there, but it hadn't been enough. It hadn't been fast enough. And although we've come a long, long way, we still have a long, long way to go. In 1863, the Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation signed by Abraham Lincoln. But the Negro was not given any land to make that freedom meaningful. And you know, it was something like having a man in jail for years and years, and then you suddenly discover that this man is innocent. And go to him and say, now you are free. The man's been unjustly jailed for 35 or 40 years, and you just put him out of jail saying, now you are free. You don't give him any bus fare to get to town, no money to buy any clothes, no money to get something to eat. This is what happens to the black man in this country. I can't limit my concern to the middle class. I can't limit my concern to this particular situation where a Negro comes and says, I'm the first this. I'm just tired of the first Negro. I want some seconds and some thirds and some fourths. The civil rights movement has to address itself to this, and the nation has to do it. You see, we are such a rich nation and affluent nation. We often don't see the poor. There are some, you see, most white people can't see the poor because they live in the suburbs. And then they get in town in these big cities on expressways. They don't know nothing about Watts. They've never been there. They don't know anything about Huff in Cleveland, or the west side, or the south side of Chicago, or Harlem. They've never seen it. And they allow the poor to become invisible. And a lot of Negroes, you know, who have somehow sailed or floated out of the backwaters or the muddy waters, and they've kind of been able to ease out into the fresh-flowing waters of the main stream, have forgotten the stench of the backwater. And I can hear a voice saying that wasn't enough. I was hungry, and you fed me not. I was naked, and you clothed me not. I needed shelter, and you didn't give it to me. I needed a drink of water. And in a world that's 3/4 water, you made me pay a water bill.
You know, during the end of King's life, he had changed his tune about integration. To me, listening to that piece, that was something that I never heard before. And hearing him speak about, you know, blacks was freed from physical slavery, but they wasn't given anything. To me, the key word is given, and we still have an expectation that things need to be gave, which I feel like they should be gave. But will they be gave by a people who took their power? I doubt that. And I would like somebody in the comment section to, you know, tell me that I'm wrong, but I doubt that. I think these people are moving moralists. And for us to achieve, we have to be unified and on code and standing together to be able to obtain the things that we want to obtain. Real talk. I want to switch up the topic a little bit. I'm going to get into the California stuff with Gavin Newsom, but I want to read an article to y'all from where this article come from? Ebony. So Ebony magazine, you know, everybody magazines is not popular no more. Everybody is doing you know, websites now, and you can go check out their websites. A website is basically a magazine now. And you know, What Tuskegee's ban on bonnets and do rags say about the black college experience? When I seen that, my mind automatically went to how do we represent ourselves when we go outside? What do we expect from our loved ones when they go outside? We during COVID, everybody wanted to be comfortable and dress comfortable and stuff, though. But looking at this article and listening to people speak about this, because I heard a lot of platforms and content creators talking about it. When I go outside, I represent everybody I love in my family, and I want to be presentable when I go outside because, perception is who people view you as. If you look nice, healthy, dressed well, people will perceive that you are healthy and successful when internally you might not be. You know, Perception, you could be very intelligent going to this college and have on a bonnet or a do rag and some slides or whatever, though. But the perception of you is that this is a hoodlum. So I understand this, but I want to read this article and I want to know y'all thoughts on it. And if y'all want to call into the show and further this conversation, let's do it. Tuskegee University's new dress code isn't just about bonnets and do rags. It's the latest chapter in a decade long conversation about respectability politics, black identity, and the expectation placed on HBCU students before they even enter the workforce. So they wrote down the key takeaways of this, and I want to read this to y'all also. Tuskegee University will ban bonnets and do rags to reinforce professional dress code. Dress code reflects respectability politics, influencing black students' appearance standards. HBCUs faces tension between cultural expression and conforming to dominant workforce norms. Few things sow discord within the black populace quite like bonnets and do-rags in public discourse. It's a polarizing respectability paragon that has made its way to one of the most trusted spaces in black academia, HBCUs. Ahead of the 2026 and 27 school year, Tuskegee University announced it will ban bonnets and do rags in classrooms and the cafeteria in an effort to provide students with a solid foundation for the workforce they will enter once they leave Tuskegee. Hey, that word, I keep saying Tuskegee, and it make me think about the men that went and fought for this country and didn't be able to participate into the GI program and stuff so they could get loans from the government and stuff like that. And it's just blasphemous that they would, it's good that they named the school after them for remembrance of the men, but then it makes you remember the history of how they was treated when they went to war to fight for this country and came back to this country and was disrespected by the people that they fought for. Tuskegee's president, Dr. Mark A. Brown, outlined in a message directed to parents and of prospective students. Professional dress codes are nothing new, but at HBCUs and in the world in general, you can't go into the skateholder meeting wearing your pajamas, a category that often includes bonnets and do rags, even though an argument can be made for the latter's role as a cultural style staple with its own gendering implications. Furthermore, predominantly white institutions have notoriously taxed campus clothing cultures, and they still manage to navigate the corporate world without an issue. Stroll through any school in the SEC, and you'll see a symphony of messy buns stuffed with unbrushed hair and oversized comfort color t shirts, so long they render the accompanying shorts invisible. Yet no one seems to think about the casual culture of baggy sweats and unwashed hoodies automatically translates to corporate incompetence. These students are trusted to understand the difference between grabbing a quick breakfast before an 8 a.m. class and showing up to AM Law 100 interview. When it comes to black students, though, the consensus seems to be that we don't understand the difference between grabbing a bite to eat during final seasons and clocking in at Big Four account firm for our first postgraduate internship. So I'm gonna give y'all my take on this so far because a lot of people may think that this is disingenuous, but I feel like this is a conversation to be had. Okay, okay. Diane Jeans. I'm new here. I want to say a few things about reparations. Let me read a few of her comments because I would love for you to call into the show. I think you left some comments on the last show that I did about reparations, also some very educational comments, but I would love to converse with you. The number is on the bottom of the screen and we can chop it up, Diane. I would highly appreciate that. Let me read your comments though. Our father, the UN, and black people are being talked about in a good way on the world stage. So let's talk about it. Black Americans are being talked about in, okay. Do you know that we own the land, us black Americans? We own some land. You're right about that. Did you know that we are not African, that we are native? Most definitely. I'm Blackfoot on my father's side, and I have Cherokee roots on my mother's side. You can tell, look at my face. You know, I can't grow a beard. I'm 46 years old. You know what I'm saying? So you got to talk back. I'm talking back to you, Shawty. I would love for you to call in. We own the 13 colonies. Call into the show. You see the number right here by your comments. Call in live 202 492 6844. I'm going to leave it in the comment section also. Call in and talk to me. Educate me. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to not give people a voice. And you don't have to be scared, Shawty. You having a conversation with your brother. Real talk. Educate the people. Your voice needs to be amplified. You know what I'm saying? People who are knowledgeable about these topics of discussion that we have, their voice needs to be amplified. Real talk. If you know a lot, spread the word. Nobody know who you are personally. I'm going to continue to read this article. And if you decide to call in shortly, it will be greatly appreciated. I couldn't see your comments while I was reading because I was looking at I got a whole bunch of windows open on my MacBook. So I was looking at the article trying to read that. But I'm going to continue reading this article. I would like to know what your thoughts is also on Tuskegee not allowing black students to wear bonnets, slides, do-rags to classes no more. Is that a bad representation of us if we trying to further our education and get into the professional world? Or do you think that that's like disingenuous that they're trying to change who we are as people and the things that me, to be honest with you, I don't wear bonnets, slides, none of that type shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't putting that on when I go anywhere. If I wear a do-rag or something, it's in the house. I'm not going outside looking crazy because I represent my people and I represent my loved ones. Let me continue to read this article, and then I got some more conversations I want to talk about. We'd be remiss to not acknowledge the inherent role respectability politics plays in these conversations. From not sagging our pants to opting for straightened or otherwise manipulated hairstyles. Black people have been categorically conditioned to alter our behavior based on what is deemed acceptable by white culture, even if that culture doesn't abide by those same principles itself. Now, that's true. That is true. You know, it is two different. Now, when they go to school, they can have tattoos on their face, piercings on their tongues, wearing crazy clothes, and nobody say nothing because those are their institutions and they accept them the way that they are. Is these HBCUs are institutions? Because they're federally funded, and this doesn't seem as if the feds care about us as a whole, but they federally funded. So it doesn't seem as if a HBCU is our institutions and we have to abide by the guidelines that isn't our people in power making the decisions in the first place. I'm gonna continue reading. What constitutes a presentable appearance is undeniably linked to agoric metrics of validation, and this practice has a storied history within black academic spaces. We all know about the paper bag test, but during the 20th century, certain campuses also implemented comb tests, where if your hair was too coarse to pass through a fine tooth comb, you'd face various degrees of exclusion. This undoubtedly propped up integration, focused hair practices like chemical relaxers, which have been linked to uterine cancer, effectively nipping the "it's just hair" conversation in the bud. For all the intents and purposes, stand in direct opposition to HBCU's perceived status as modern black utopias were, even if just for a few short years, black people can exist as the majority. It is a cherished, limited period during which young black people can live wholly as themselves. Within the context of historical black colleges and universities, though, this accommodation to witness has existed at the periphery of the black experience for the past century. So that's the end of the article. I might read some of these comments also, though, but I want to see what y'all thoughts is about that, though. She said it wouldn't go through. I'm gonna call you back. Real talk. I'm about to call you back. I ain't even gonna say your area code. I know which one you though. Answer the phone, Diane, please.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm extremely blessed. I'm glad that you watching my show, and I'm looking forward to learning from you and want to know what's your thoughts about these conversations that we have that I'm trying to have.
Okay, so let's talk about the. I'm sorry, I'm a country girl. I'm from Arkansas, right?
I'm from Tennessee. I'm right across the next state from you. I'm from Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might be. I might be in the city now, but I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee.
You're in Memphis?
No, I'm in Charlotte right now, but you might have to turn your TV down in the background because I can hear you twice.
I will. Let me turn it down.
Thank you.
That's part of my iPad. I got the TV and iPad on.
It's okay.
Hang on. I'm so nervous. Okay, so let's talk about the bonnets, right?
Please.
Now, with what I'm saying, because I have learned within the last year not to just follow local politics and not to just follow just say American politics. I follow what's called geopolitics, which means what's going on in the whole world, right? And that is what drives what goes on here, right? What goes on in China let's say, for example, what goes on in Africa has an effect on what goes on here. What goes on here has an effect on what goes on. I mean, just the whole world is intertwined, and we don't even understand that living in America because they don't teach us that, right? They teach us to just know about what goes on here.
We the center of attention. That's what we think we are.
Well, right, but let me tell you something. We're really not, and we don't understand how everything drives everything, right? So let me see how I'm trying to say it. Okay, let's talk about the bunnies.
Most definitely.
So I follow the UN, the United Nations, right? And they're pumping all of this money into America, right? And they're saying that we're the laughing stock, right? That the country was like this house on a hill, right? That everybody wanted to come. Everybody was beating down the door. Everybody was doing all of this, doing everything. Let me see, how am I going to say it? I'm nervous. I'm sorry. It's like
they want to intertwine with us. Everybody want to come over here, but it's not the reality that the other parts of the world think it is.
No, okay. It's like we was that house on a shining hill, but not that we're in the dumps, but because of our politics, it's like we're in the dumps, right? You feel me? Like what people see on TV, it's like, not that they don't want to come here, but they don't want to come here to really be here. They want to come here for the money, right? But because we have allowed so many people in, it's just like a whole shithole, right?
Most definitely.
Sorry about the cursing or whatever, right?
You can
let me say
freely.
This. Okay. So let me say this. Let me stick to one topic. That's my thing. I want to say a whole lot of things at one time, and I know I can't. I'm trying to learn how to stick to one topic, right? So let's talk about the bunny.
Yeah.
So they're pumping billions and billions and billions of dollars into America right now. I mean, businesses, right? So you have different okay, I'm trying to say, like, you may have different type of people that pick up different sectors. Like, say, for example, like, you're going to talk about the Rothschild is going to mostly be over education, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or pumping the money into education.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may have something like another dynasty family,
The
maybe pumping money in. Yeah, they may be pumping money into, say, for example, the AI part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you may have another family, because everything goes on in America is really tied around the Western countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you may have another billionaire or another big dynasty family pumping money into whatever it may be, right?
Transportation.
Yes, right, yes. So the person that's pumping the money into the schools is saying, look, we're undereducating these people, which is what they really wanted to do, right?
Most definitely.
At first. And now it's like, oh my God. Okay, let me say this. When we, like, the point that we're at right now, we just come out of a 99-year contract. The country, America, just come out of a 99-year contract where we had contracts with the whole world. That's why we had all those bases around the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We was policing the whole world, right?
Still are. Still is.
No, you're not. No, you're not, sir. No, you're not. No, you're not.
I'm not. Now you said no. You're.
No,
I'm not.
No. The country's not. The country's not anymore. You know why it's not?
Educate me then.
Okay, so let me say this. So we was under a 99-year. That's how it does. Okay, it's treaties and contracts, right? So we was under a 99-year contract, and it just ended. Me and you just happened to be alive when this ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's new contracts to be drawn, new treaties to be had, and different things like that with different people, with different countries, with different this, different that. We're going through a whole trade war that I don't even hardly see on TV anymore. But last year I saw it a lot. I did a lot of learning last year because I saw how we was going through a trade war. Like, I mean, literally in a trade war around the world.
Trying to take people's natural resources so we can stay.
No, not that now. Well, you're talking with Iran with that. But hang on, I'm gonna talk about that too.
Venezuela also. Didn't we go over there and take some of their natural resources and we?
Well, look. We didn't take nothing from Venezuela, to be honest with you. Venezuela wanted that military guy. Look, don't let the TV fool you. Don't let the TV fool you. This is a whole stage, my brother. I'm telling you, that TV is a whole stage, right? Mm-hmm. America never would have went in there. They didn't know where that man was at. One of his military guys told on him, and we told the military guy we would pay him so much money, and we went in and we kidnapped the dude, right, with the help of some of the military people there in Venezuela, but we never did pay the people.
Now, not to throw you off track, please get back to the educating me with the contract.
Okay.
The contract.
Okay. So right now we're in a trade war, right? I don't know how far to finish that we are, right? So we're in so now it's like whoever wants to do business with America, do business with America. Whoever wants to do business with, just as an example, China, do business with China, right? Whoever do business with Africa, going to do business with Africa, right? So that set Africa within the framework, but it's like 54 countries in Africa. So some may do business with America, some may do business with China, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But your main players on this field right now is China, Russia, America, and Iran. Yeah. People don't even know the war is really over, but they're playing old footage, right? But Iran has already won the war, right?
I don't know that.
I'm telling you. Please believe me. I wouldn't lie to you.
I'm listening to you, but
I'm telling you. I followed this war from day one to day. Look, right now I follow people over in Iran. It's over. But they got to listen. The TV can be your worst enemy if you don't have the full picture, right?
That's facts.
Because we have learned to accept what our doctors say, what our teachers say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what our
politicians.
Yes, yes, all of that, right? And to be honest with you, we just a little bit of peons on this spectrum, but I don't know what allowed me. I wanted to learn, right? And so I just went into this thing. I just went to diving into it and meeting people, and and then people meet you like that, right? Not in person, but like on YouTube, basically.
I got a question that ask you too, Diane. And somebody has left a comment. You know what I'm saying, telling me you cooking. Let me be quiet. You cooking. But
no, right. Well, thank you for that. Well, look, so I love to talk. I love to learn. Look, I didn't even finish school. Look, but it doesn't stop my learning, right?
Learning is for life.
Yeah. Yes. And so not to like put myself down, but it's like some things I went through, I just didn't finish school because some things I went through, not to make me a dummy, but just to say that, no, I may not have the indoctrinated things that they did to us in school, but I still, it doesn't stop me from making money, anything like that. Okay. So look.
Go ahead.
So look, okay. So we're in a full trade war, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got some people that went along with us, some people went along with China. Mostly it's us in China, right? Okay. So the Iran war came into play because it's time for America. No more of that taking people resources, right? Because the internet and stuff like that. To just make a long story short, you can't just go take people's stuff like you used to do back in the 15, 16, 17.
Why not, Miss Diane? Why you can't do?
Because the internet plays a part. Listen, the full Iran war, I was able to see what those people was going through versus them seeing what we do. Like, those are not dummies, right? Those guys are not dummies. Those are really, really, really smart guys. Mm-hmm. But America teaches us that they're dumb. Do you remember the thing? Do you remember when Donald Trump said, "I'm going to knock them back to Stone Age"? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
No, do you remember that?
I remember it. I'm just laughing because it was funny to me when he said.
No, yes, it was. But listen to this right here. When he said that, they responded right back. No lie, and they said, "When you was," and this is no lie. See, but America not gonna teach this to white people, right? So this is what this is what Iran said. They said, while you talking about knocking us back to Stone Age, we was over here doing X, Y, Z. We were doing, for example, we were doing geometry, and you were still sleeping with your pigs over in Europe, with your animals over in Europe. No lie, and it's not a lie either. It's the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Like, y'all had even developed yourself. You didn't even have a commode, right? When those people over there was like doing the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look, let me say this.
But you already, hold on. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir, you can.
And I done had a couple of more callers. I got to let you land your plane after you give your last take. But I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
What has changed in our daily life? Because if they had won, like, I don't think that Iran won the war, me personally.
I'm telling you they did. They will not put boots on the ground in Iran. I want to say one more thing before I get out. I got on Iran. I got a head full of stuff I want to get out. So I'm just hoping people let me come on their little thing, whatever. I know I'm all over the place, so please forgive me for that.
My platform will be your platform. You can always come on my platform.
Oh, wow, really?
And speak. I really appreciate everybody calling in and speaking.
Thank you. Look, let me say this right here. I'm telling you, and you will see this. Maybe not now. It may be 5 years from now. I may not even be alive anymore. But remember, I told you, we lost the war. We have to get all of our stuff from over there in the Middle East. We got to remove all of that stuff, all our bases, all that stuff like that. They tore our ass up over there. And they talk about, only 6 people died. No, that's a lie. The reason why they said 6, it was 6 Americans, but the people that we contract out to go fight these wars for us, that's not even American people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are people that did the dying that they'll never talk about. They'll never talk about them people, right?
Yeah.
So it may be 5,000 died, 10,000 died, but it may have been only 13 regular, and then that could be a lie too, right? Because they saying the numbers are really bigger. But let me say this one last thing, please, one last thing, and we can talk about this next time.
Thank you.
We are not from Africa. We are native to this land.
Most
we
definitely.
are the indigenous people of this land, right?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
When them people came here, we was already here.
Mm-hmm.
And do you not see this little color thing that we got going on? They got us pissed off at the Haitians, at the Jamaicans, that's by design.
It's called delineation.
No. I get that because I'm FBA too. But you know what, though? I see it so different from you because I look at it as geopolitics. All around the world that you see people of color, when you see them a cream color, it's only because the white mixed with the darker ones that made them cream. Mm-hmm. And they too afraid that that everybody's going to wake up and be like, what the hell are we fighting each other for? We should be fighting the only 15% of white people that we got going on here.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I really don't. I can't agree with that. But I'm not saying
that
you're wrong.
I'm telling you.
No, but I'm not saying fight people. Like I understand what you're saying, but I don't identify with white or black. I think that was created to keep the division.
Yes, to keep us apart. Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. I'm a foundational American. I don't like that
and
word.
That's what I am. And that's what I am too. But all around the world, you know what this lady, I can't remember her name. I'm gonna find her video from this time that we talked. She said what white people understood was everywhere around the world that they went and conquered, that they saw black people there or people of color. Mm-hmm. Everywhere they went, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So even when you look, when they conquer you, they rename your land. This land is not America. This is Turtle Island. This is North America, which is what they call North America, but it's Turtle Island. This land was Turtle Island. Next time I come on, I have a map that I'm going to send to you if you can receive it that will show you.
Listen, Diane, what? You just call my personal number. Text me, show me the map. I'll put it up on the screen.
I'm going to show you this map as how they added each landmass and when they added it, right? Mm-hmm. It was on the 13 colonies here. That's why the South is so important when it comes to voting, because the South is that's the whole mechanism of the whole country.
I ain't voting no more until they put a reparations package together. I don't care who it is. It could be my cousin.
Look, did you know that was two constitutions?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know in the Constitution that they do not use, it was said for them, that's where that 40 acres and a mule come in at? Mm-hmm.
Diane, I gotta keep it moving.
All right, keep it moving. Well, I got your number. I'm gonna call you back. Let me know. Text me when you coming on, and then we can talk some more.
I most definitely will. I'm gonna save you to my notes. Keep watching the show. If anything else,
all right, I am.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me on.
Anytime.
All right, bye-bye.
Let me give Diane a round of applause. She was ready to go crazy. She was cooking, wasn't it? Hold up. Round of applause to Miss Diane. Woo. Diane, boy, let me hit my wine one time, Miss Diane. Woo. I'm almost fatigued. Timestamp Tiffany said Miss Diane got that knowledge. Woo. She trying to spread it too, Timestamp Tiffany. How is your day? I appreciate your support, Tiffany. You always tapping in with my channel, man. You are a friend of mine. I greatly appreciate your knowledge and you sharing it with me also. And I'm looking forward to a conversation that me and you supposed to be having about this album releasing. I got a new single releasing in 45 minutes too also. But tonight we talking about reparations. I'm all over the place. I talked about the bonnets so far. In Tuskegee University at the HBCU, niggas wearing bonnets and slides and, do-rags, and they ain't tolerating that no more. But I want to go back in time and see specifically what Thomas Sowell said about reparations, just to refresh my memory, because I read a lot of Thomas Sowell books. I used to look up to him as a economist. And I'm starting to feel funny about some of the things that he said because I was researching them as of recently. Let's get to it.
So what I'm getting at is, you were of the generation that saw Jim Crow with your own eyes.
No question. No question.
Okay. So, well, let me read you a quotation. This is from an article that got a lot of attention in The Atlantic a couple of years ago called The Case for Reparations by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Quote, "White supremacy is a force so fundamental to America that it is difficult to imagine the country without it. Reparations is the price we must pay to see ourselves squarely." Close quote. And Tom Sowell, who actually saw Jim Crow with his own eyes and experienced it, responds how?
It would be nice to know his evidence for what he said, just to be old-fashioned about it. No, it was a rotten system. But I don't know how we get from that to reparations. I mean, what we see in the United States in terms of the bad things, you see all around the world. If you were to give reparations to everyone whose ancestors had been slaves, I suspect that you would have to give reparations to more than half the entire population of the globe. Slavery was not confined to one set of races.
Hold up. I gotta stop him because I understand where my way of thinking has changed so far with Thomas Sowell. He talking about, it was a rotten system. Isn't the system still going on right now? Isn't white supremacy still thriving? Doesn't it still exist, or am I blind? Also, he's trying to make this conversation about reparations a global thing when that isn't indigenous black Americans' concern. We are concerned about what was done in our country. We don't care about what was done around the globe, big dog. And also those people that have their own identity and they have their own land and space. America gave them reparations for what they done to them. They passed hate crime bills and stuff for what was done to them. So he's kind of being disingenuous when he's talking about reparations is deserved for over half the globe. Let me rewind it a little bit and let him cook so we can get a perspective of this.
Entire population of the globe. Slavery was not confined to one set of races. I suspect that most of the people who were either slaves or slave owners around the world were neither white nor black. I mean, this was a universal curse of the human species.
Africa, the Middle East, Asia, slavery took place everywhere.
And it continued elsewhere long after it was abolished in the Western countries.
All right. Let me try sticking with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Shelby Steele talks about white guilt. And in Ta-Nehisi Coates, you get almost the counterpart of that, a kind of African-American claim against the white guilt. And this seems, beginning with the abolitionists, even beginning before the Civil War, you see almost every generation, there's some expression that racism and slavery, as Shelby calls it, correctly, of course, the sin of slavery is so deeply, and it's something we still live with. How do we expiate it? How do we get past it? Is there something we can do to relieve ourselves of this legacy?
Oh, I think you should repeat it. If you were a slave owner, I don't see any reason why you should feel differently. On the other hand, if I can't get over the idea of A, apologizing for what B did.
Okay.
Even when they're contemporaries.
I suggest y'all get a book too, though, that was mentioned in this conversation, White Guilt by Shelby Steele. I got it in audio form, but I don't have it in a physical form. He said something earlier along after I paused it about slave owners neither being white or black. I'm starting, as I get older and as I get smarter in these topics and things, I'm starting to have a problem when people that is as sophisticated as Thomas Sowell use white or black, because when you say white, you stringing a whole bunch of lineages up and you just making one the dominant whatever they supposed to be, because I can't even make a definition of what a white person is. and then you stringing a whole bunch of other individuals up and calling them black when we don't actually agree with certain things that certain lineages do, and we all don't align with each other, but they all consider us black so they can minimize us, or so they can, maximize another group of people. But let me read some comments because I'm slacking. Timestamp Tiffany said, most definitely looking forward. And I agree with your statement about the reparations / tangibles in regard to voting, though. I ain't voting, Tiffany, real talk, for none of the people that, if they don't have a reparations package, or if they don't have a package for indigenous black Americans to evolve, then just don't count me in. And I feel like all of us in totality need to hold the politicians locally, nationally, and globally accountable, and just don't participate, because they ain't participating in our elevation. Let me see what Miss Diane talking about. Will you please do a show on how our black leaders sold us out? Most definitely. It's plenty of shows that I could do about that, because I won't even call them leaders. This terminology is starting to have an effect on my way of thinking. And a lot of people may not agree with it, but I don't consider them leaders. How do I shave a pic with you? Just share it to that phone number that you just called. That phone number that you just called is right here beside me. I don't call those, let me get back to it though, Diane. I don't call those people leaders. I call them puppets in position to persuade a significant amount of people to do something that the government wants to be done. That's what I feel like they do. I don't feel like they leading. They ain't directing no people into a direction of evolving. Nobody's evolving following none of these black leaders. Tell me a city, a state, a government official that's black that's evolving his people. What they would say in an interview or whatever is that I don't just only represent black people. I represent the state of Maryland. Y'all know who I'm hitting at. Not trying to diss that brother though, but I don't just, what did Obama say? I don't just represent black people. I represent the United States of America. It's crazy. See, they don't want you to know that it was your people that they enslaved also. They don't want you to know that the land belonged to us. That is very important, knowing that the land belonged to us. That's true. The land did belong to us, though, but they took it, though. And they can't give something back that they took. That's what I feel like. I might be wrong in that aspect. But are they going to ever give something back that they stole? Now, I don't like the word stole neither, because it wasn't stolen. When you steal, you sneaking and doing shit. When you take, you blatantly doing it. Tiffany said, when white folks start calling their people out and denouncing it, I'll believe that they want to get past racism. Until then, I agree, Tiffany. I agree. Let me play some more of the video, and you're not correct. No, didn't know. You're not correct, sir. You're not correct. I ain't trying to be correct all the time, Diane. It's just, I'm giving a take, a perspective. I might be wrong in everything that I'm saying, but I learned from my OG, Troy Terrain Star, to have an objective take. Everybody ain't going to agree with you. Everybody ain't going to think that you're correct. But as long as it's genuine, your point of view, then it is what it is. Real talk. Let's get back into this conversation, though. Let me rewind it a little bit.
If you were a slave owner, I don't see a reason why you should feel differently. On the other hand, if I can't get over the idea of A, apologizing for what B did.
Okay.
Even when they're contemporaries, much less when one is dead and the other is alive.
All right.
I mean, Scalia, I remember saying, that I owe no man anything because people who look like me did something to people who look like him.
Okay, so just get past it. Get to work.
Yeah.
All right. Tom Sowell's view is get an education, stay married, and do your job. Roughly.
Yeah.
All right. Charles Murray. You used to write a column every so often called Random Thoughts on the
Oh,
Passing
yes,
Scene.
yes.
And so I'm giving you a little snippets here of the passing scene in our final questions. Charles Murray, in his 1984 book, Losing Ground, and Charles Murray writes about discussions in academia and government about the effort to close the gap again between African Americans and whites. Quote, 1984, quote, whites had created the problem. It was up to whites to fix it. And there was very little in the dialogue that treated blacks as responsible actors, close
Yes,
quote.
yes.
Has that changed?
No, it is not.
All right. On we go to the passing scene. Your friend, your longtime friend.
From a kind.
Tiffany, you hell, boy. I turned the ads off. I didn't want the ads to go too crazy. I turned them off just for you, so you could tap in with the show. I apologize. I did have them turned up though, all the way up. Now I want to get to the topic of discussion that I really wanted to have tonight, because Gavin Newsom in a California county, they had proposed a reparations bill, an actual one, and seemed like people are disgruntled about it. I got your text too, Diane. I know you probably heard it on the show just now. And then I got one more topic too. I want to do a conversation about this condom and the Popeyes chicken that the OG had last night. Boy, that was hilarious. Whew. Okay, she's sending me some content. Diane, we're gonna address some of that tonight, because I'm up chilling, man, just cooling, having me a couple of glasses of wine. But let me play this audio for y'all. This is according to Fox Business News, Fox Business, and they talking about in a California county, a reparations bill was passed, but a lot of other things are being ignored.
Follow him on the campaign trail as he heads out for 2028.
And you'll make sure of it, I'm sure. Joel Pollack, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
As you know, this will be my final earnings call, and John will.
I apologize, y'all. I'm on goofy time right now with this. I was watching a video before I came on the show, so I was slipping a little bit, but I'm gonna get it up for y'all because I want y'all to see that. Here it goes.
County California have approved a reparations plan for African Americans living in the area. The plan primarily focuses on improving housing, education, and economic opportunities. California Post opinion editor Joel Pollack joins me now. Are they actually going to receive cash payments, Joel?
Well, this has been a kind of bait and switch that left-wing politicians have played with voters for a very long time. They talk about reparations, they set up committees to study reparations, and then when it comes to paying cash reparations, they never deliver. And that's because most of these cities and counties and state governments, in the case of California, just don't have the cash. It's also because reparations are a terrible idea. Nobody can figure out who is supposed to pay whom. I mean, Kamala Harris has a slave-holding ancestor. Is she supposed to pay herself reparations? Nobody can figure it out.
How do you think this is going to work out? I mean, Alameda County doesn't have a surplus, does it? It's got a budget deficit, doesn't it?
It came into the year with a $91 million budget deficit. They eventually balanced the budget, which most of these governments have to find some way of doing because they can't print their own money, unlike the federal government. But the supervisors wanted to virtue signal to the left-wing base that they are doing this reparations thing. San Francisco is talking about it. Gavin Newsom played with the idea for several years. And Evanston, Illinois, near where I grew up, is the first American city to pass reparations. Of course, these are all free states. California entered the Union in 1850 as a free state. Doesn't owe reparations to anybody. Same thing with Illinois, land of Lincoln, the great emancipator. What are they doing paying reparations to anyone? This is all just virtue signaling, and it's a substitute for real progress. The only thing that really helps black Americans and all Americans is a growing economy that creates new opportunities. And that's what President Trump created in his first term. But then the Black Lives Matter movement exploded, and they're demanding reparations. But it's basically a kind of left-wing groupthink that goes nowhere.
California Governor Newsom's Golden State.
Hold up now. He trying to align Black Lives Matter with reparations. Then he's talking about they don't have a surplus, they have a deficit. Then he said it's a terrible idea. The other guy, this is nuts. This is just frivolous conversation that these guys are having. What I think is that, they think that that's something that they're paying reparations. If it's going to be something that is, I don't even want to use the word given, it's another word. It's going to be the debt that the government owes to Americans, then I feel like all Americans is going to get taxed by it. We pay taxes to so many things that we disagree with. Why do they disagree with evolving a group of Americans as much as they do? But they will agree with spending $1 trillion on a war in Iran, or giving money to Ukraine, or giving money to Israel, and that is coming out of their tax dollars also. But they disagree with seeing the evolution of people that live a mile away from you. I think that we can create a plan. I would like to do that with y'all on the phone or in the comment section. What would be y'all ideal reparations package for indigenous Black people whose lineage been over here for a couple of 100 years? That's just what I would think. I want to read a few of y'all comments too, because timestamp Tiffany left a good one. The one that I stopped at is, she said, there is a serious period of unlearning everything you may have been taught. And due to indoctrination, most will be left behind. That's true too, Tiffany, because I'm unlearning and I'm not, taking people perspective in if it doesn't resonate with my soul. I acknowledge it, but if it doesn't resonate with me, then it's not concrete. I have to unlearn and have a view. That's why, like, I'm stop identifying myself as Black. And not, if my people identify as Black, cool. But I'm done with that, because that's not a group of people. That's a whole bunch of people that, I don't actually just agree with, being Black in the first place. Let me read another one of her comments. None of your business. They got imaginary billions that appear magically when you in Black business, nickel. Okay, so Diane said the UN already doing that, so don't let the news fool you. Most definitely. The money is already sitting in an account. That's true. Because your ancestors stole some shit that wasn't yours to take due to guns, ammunition, etc. But they will pull this money from nowhere to fund other countries. That's what I'm going to say. The money is already there. Don't let them fool you. The fake. They could never repay it due to interest, trauma, PTSS, and stolen land. That's true. The Bible tells you about over there, but over there didn't come about until the 1940s. But the Bible speaks on it as it was there during the Bible days. Diane, educate me on what that country originally was called before they was called Israel. And let me quit being a hoe ass nigga and say the country Israel. That's what we talking about. A lot of Americans is very disgruntled with Israel right now, to be honest with you. Let me continue playing this conversation, then we're going to move along. I want to get into this clip. I'm going to end the show off tonight of this clip of a condom being found in the Popeyes chicken. That's just, hey, stop.
Start, is that the program is calling it. It's facing some scrutiny. It gives newborns 400 free diapers after leaving the hospital. Okay, what's the problem?
Well, there are many problems with this. First of all, as any parent with a newborn knows, it's very hard to time the changes in diaper sizes, right? So what kind of diapers are you leaving the hospital with? I mean, 400 size newborn is not going to help you after the first or second week. But the real problem is that the $6.2 million contract for this went to a nonprofit organization whose co-chair is also on the board of Jennifer Siebel Newsom's nonprofit organization. That is to say, she's very closely connected to the Newsoms. And this did not contrary to what the governor told us, did not go through a competitive bidding process. There were 15 companies that showed an interest in providing the diapers for Newsom's diaper deal, and somehow they chose this one. And it turns out that it wasn't a competitive bidding process, that actually there was a little line of legislation tucked into the budget that said this particular deal doesn't have to go through the usual process, doesn't have to be subjected to the usual constraints and accountability. So this diaper deal stinks to high heaven, and unfortunately for Newsom, the stench is going to follow him on the campaign trail.
I don't want to hear nothing about no Pampers, to be honest with you. California got enough problems, and they got more problems bigger than Pampers. I'm going to call you right back, Tiffany. I apologize. I got, this dang on my phone crazy. It won't even allow me to accept certain calls. Hold up, I'm going to call you right back, Tiffany. I apologize.
Hello,
What's poppin'? What's poppin', Tiffany? What's your thoughts tonight?
Trevor Jackson TV. What's up? Thanks for taking my call.
Most definitely, I appreciate you. I always appreciate your time. What's your thoughts about some of the commentary that we've been in the chat talking about, and I've been playing the visuals and stuff, man. I appreciate you calling into the show tonight, Tiffany.
Yeah, I came in on the tail end, but as far as like tangibles and all that goes, the thing that really grinds my gears when it comes to that is you look at certain states or cities, and like they say, oh, they stack like the Sixers in this upcoming season, and yet they don't have any kind of spine. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna speak specifically in my state, and I'm gonna talk about Westmore. I'm gonna talk about our mayor Brandon Scott. Even talking about the propaganda that occurs when you tune into these local radio stations, and just in general, people kill me because they will vote against their own interests, things that are going to benefit them, even if it means, oh, I'm just going to vote Democrat, or I'm going to just vote for this person because we got the same, skin color. It grinds my gears. And I'm with you on it, like in the upcoming elections, with that 2028, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah.
And if they cannot put something on paper and put something into effect, because we've been talking about it for too long. And like Ms. Diane said, the money is there because we see it every day. You got Elon Musk, a trillionaire. Come on now.
Yeah.
The biggest welfare recipient. If they could give him $1 trillion or billions of dollars to build these bogus ass rockets that don't work, these cars that blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the biggest welfare recipient. So I don't even want to hear it. Don't question about where my money is going. Just give me my money. All of that stuff that they talking when they get up there, well, where is it going to come from? Why are you worried about it? Long as it's not coming out of your pocket, don't worry about where it's coming from, because it's old. That is old. And it angers me, but I still try to just stay even keel when it comes to the whole conversation, because you still want to do whatever you got to do out here to make it work. And I'm gonna get mine regardless. So that's how I feel. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna still make it away. Every day I go out here, I'm still, oh yeah, let me get my 40 acres, because that was something that was old. I could see, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't something that I had been told about generations back, you know what I mean? Like, that's a story, not a story, but that's just facts that was shared and passed down from generations that came before me.
We didn't even ask for reparations or 40 acres in a mule. That was something that they presented to us. Yeah, that was something they presented to us. That's crazy, that you said that Elon Musk is the biggest welfare recipient, because the government is what made him a trillionaire, because they're funding his ideas and stuff. But we have millions of homeless people in this country that's struggling, but we will give one man $1 trillion who can give everybody. He probably could give everybody in this country 10 million and still be straight.
Man, I saw something. It was some crazy fact. They was talking about $1 billion, like, you could roughly spend. It was ridiculous. And that's why I said, like, this administration, what it is revealing, again, the corruption. It's no hiding it. So even when we discuss Fauci on trial and everything, yes, he should be under the microscope. Yes, he should be tried, because there was a whole lot of money and it was a whole lot of lives that were lost due to the pandemic and the lies that were told. And that's just what's going on right now. And people want to get mad, oh, they're corrupt, da 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 da. No, it's always been that way. It's now, it's in your face. There's no hiding. And that's just the way that I want it. And I like it just like it is now, because I want to see exactly what is going on, versus we have this Democratic Party, NAACP, Black Caucus, whatever, and just grinning, skimming and grinning in our faces and talking about change and all of that. It's no change that's going to come about if they're continuously selling us out, putting fake bills on the table, but knowing damn well that they have no intention of going to the bat for us. And so, yeah, I feel like when it comes to voting, just like they said, oh, I'm gonna sit on the couch. I did vote the last time, but I'm adamant, like, going forward. I just feel like we should withhold. That is how we show our power. But we also have to mobilize. And you said, what does a plan look like?
Educate.
I mean, we had discussed a while back about sovereign states, right? And being self-sufficient and creating our own town, cities, where, we have like-minded individuals who want to continuously build. If that means in my particular town, okay, no one can litter. Everybody has to grow a garden. What does your town look like? You know what I'm saying? And how do we continuously to invest to keep it growing? Or if something happens where, someone comes in and, let's say, like a Tulsa, where the government comes in and wants to, destroy, we can easily rebuild the next day, because we are self-sufficient, because we have our own National Guard, we have our own military, and I mean, it might sound far-fetched, but that's in my mind, that's how I view it, because I feel like that may be the only way that things can effectively work out for us, is if we delineate and we come back to having a sense of oneness, and we are one, so to speak. And guess what? Those people who are not on board with that mentality, so to speak, then they don't belong there. Like, you're not my people. When they say we on code, if you're not on code, then you just don't belong there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you want to be out here just being ratchet, doing all kinds of stuff, and further holding us back as a people, then yeah, you don't belong there.
You're not like-minded. Your ideology don't align with mine, so we don't have no business in building together anyway. What Tiffany, what was your thoughts? Also, I just want to get your thoughts about Tuskegee saying that the kids can't wear do-rags, bonnets, they can't come to school with slides on and nothing no more. What was your thoughts when you?
Well, I feel like it's a catch-22, right? Because I feel like when I was in school, there was a large amount of students who came to school in their PJs to some classes, especially ones that was like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Nobody really wants to be there. And this is your first, experience for some at independence and freedom. And so, yeah, we did go to class in our pajamas, or just something that was just lax.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? However, I feel like now these bonnets, that's always been like the bane of my, I can't stand it. So when I hear people going off, I'm with it because here's the thing: they keep getting bigger and bigger. And one thing I do not stand by is a man with
A
a
bonnet on
bonnet
with
on
them
that's meant for a,
dreadlocks.
like, come on, that's meant for a woman. And that's how I was always raised. Like we didn't even have bonnets. Like we wore scarves, like silk scarves to bed. Like that was something that, is embedded in my, like, I don't mind seeing a woman out with a nice scarf with a nice print. I know that maybe her hair's pinned up. If it's raining, maybe she has natural hair. But like, come on now, these ninjas out here with these bonnets and these goddamn crocs,
I'm
it
sick of it.
grinds my gears.
I'm
I'm sick of
sick
it. So
of it.
yeah, I mean, if they want to impose, go ahead. But Tuskegee has always been about quote unquote Black excellence.
Yeah.
When it comes to like their medical programs and just overall, I think that they should uphold the kids to wanting to be proud of who they are and how they come to school.
When you heard the name Tuskegee, what comes to your mind first, though, the school or the soldiers?
Well, the school, because that was one of my school choices. Because I was originally going to school for veterinary medicine, and it still is one of the most prestigious programs, especially when it comes to Black students and Black professors from all over, and especially that particular program because it is what's the word I want to look at? It's veterinary medicine is one of those programs that can be dominated mostly by white students, and I feel like sometimes it can have racist connotation to it as far as who they allow into that particular program. So I can only speak for that.
Yeah.
Personally, as far as, okay, that was one of my choices when maybe I didn't get into, like, let's say a Cornell. Tuskegee was willing to say, hey, we want to take a chance on you. You know what I'm saying? So yes, they are notable when it comes to their program.
Is they in Alabama?
Yeah, they're in Alabama.
Yeah. I ain't go get me I ain't further my education. I was kind of a bad guy though, but when I got older I started self-teaching myself about a lot of things though. And I still be self-teaching. Right now I'm trying to learn about, technology to a point to where I can rebuild computers and stuff like that though. But when my first thoughts of
It's never too
Tuskegee,
late, right? Because Tuskegee, I mean, you think about as the age that you are now, right? And being willing to learn things that maybe, you weren't mature enough or you weren't receptive enough to learn. But we forever learners. And I feel like this is the perfect age when you older because you don't have those distractions and, you're more apt to remembering versus, I'm just learning it to learn. I'm just learning it so I can pass.
yeah.
Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So
But
but
nowadays
Tuskegee, Alabama,
you retaining the knowledge. You're not just trying to
right?
learn
You
so you can.
retain it
Mm-hmm.
so you could use it, so you could build your personal portfolio, or just so that so you could just you can know because you are forever learning. I feel like we are forever students, and even going back to what you were saying about some of the things you were playing, like we are really in a period of like miseducation and having to unlearn those things that were again indoctrinated within us all.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many lies that have been told, even when it comes to religion. And it's just like, us as a people, we want to continuously spout the good book and a good book. Well, why is it that, again, the white man can have heaven right now on earth and we got to wait?
Talk to him.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
Yeah. Talk to him.
And I feel like not even on some radical thought or, but it is time for us to really just hold fast. And I'm not saying that, we dismiss the ones that came before us that put in the work, but it ain't no way. I'm not sitting at no diner. I'm not sitting at no counter while somebody pour some ice cream on me, while you stick your dog on me, while you put some hose on me.
Yeah.
And that is what they fear. You could call them YNs, you could call them whatever. Now the tables have, so to speak, been equalized when you talk about being able to defend yourself with ammunition.
Yeah.
Because if it really was a thing where though, okay, let's settle the score and let's just go fist to fist and let's go ahead and settle it. You understand what I'm saying? Racist man, original black man, whatever the case might be, you know who will win that. And that was always the fear.
Facts.
That was always the fear, and it still is a fear. Only today, the fear is now that we have us and so-called allies. But I feel like also, again, if we have these racist, quote unquote, or the ones that say, oh, I'm not racist, da, 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 why can't we just live in a world where we all get along? If you truly feel like that, then you would denounce racism. You would denounce your family members, your friends who feel like they are superior.
That's facts.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Or still walk around like, I'm here and you there. So what we doing for real?
Because they gonna align with them people because they have something to offer them. They don't want to remove themselves from the people who can help put them in position or get them a job. You know, I really live by a lot of the things that I speak about on this podcast, and things that I don't speak about that is morally correct. I don't like to be mean towards other individuals though and other ethnicities, but I realize that I gotta prioritize myself first, and then the people that's like minded with me. And I want to see my people evolve, and I stand with the thing. I don't even boycott stuff until they act right. Like I'm banning them permanently for life if they ain't doing what they supposed to do, because they'll get back into it once they get comfortable again. They'll get back into a habit of doing
they get right back into doing what they said they wouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking on that, it was something that me and some of like my friends back then, when we would talk about putting together a plan. One of the things that I feel like when they say, okay, where's the money supposed to come from? If you follow, there is a paper trail, right? So if we would go ahead and compile, let's just start with that. Let's compile all the businesses who still to this day profit in some kind of way off of free labor of black folks. Or you said you don't like to use black folks, but whatever term you want to use for the original people who were there or who were here, or you know what I'm saying, who were forced into servitude, or you know weren't paid what they was supposed to pay, or land was taken from them. Let's start with them. We already know the government is right there. You know what I'm saying? We know that their bill is going to be the highest. But let's go ahead and let's itemize them. That's a part. That would be a part of the plan in my eyes, as far as something I would be putting together.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so heavy, you know, but it's really not, because again, I feel like they get caught up when they start having the discussion. First off, you're not even supposed to be sitting there talking about it. If you're not getting ready to play your part, like those people, those two white men that you showed, they talking about, well, where we're going to get the money from? Don't worry about it, because it's not coming out your pocket.
And if it does, it's coming out in the taxes that you already paying. When you
already
paying taxes towards stuff that you disagree with anyway. So why not pay taxes to something to help evolve people that's a mile away from you, that you gotta, you know what I mean, live with anyway? We are all Americans, no matter the skin color. Yeah.
And guess what? If I want to spend all of mine on a liquor company, that's what I'm going to spend my money on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what I spend my money on. You understand what I'm saying? But I do feel like, yeah, there has to be a plan. It said whatever tangibles are awarded, but it does have to exceed just a figure. You understand what I'm saying?
I wish all people, not to cut you off, Tiffany, I'm sorry. I wish all people could align not to vote this election. I know that would
Oh
change
yeah,
something.
I wish they could say. I wish. What they say? I wish.
No
I do
tangibles,
too.
no vote. That need to be the move. The move for everybody that it has indigenous roots that's black. No tangibles, no vote, and we stand on it as a whole.
But the thing about it is, when it comes to the people who are older, what they call them boomers,
Yeah.
they feel like they are obligated regardless to go out and go to the voting booths. You understand what I'm saying? Because they look at it like, oh, the people that came before me, these are the sacrifices that they made. So they feel like they are indebted to them to go out. You already see how much confusion it caused when they talk about the SAVE Act and immigration and how you had this paperwork. And I just felt like when it came to us, like, that's not even our fight. So don't even trip.
Yeah.
Why are we even tripping off of that? Like, if people get caught up in them semantics, and we want to get caught up in other people's, other issues that don't affect us, we don't have anything to do with that because we still have so much other things that we have to work through and work on. And that, I believe, is a plan because it takes away from the topic. It takes away from us effectively having these conversations about how to mobilize. That's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we're looking at the government, like, it's always like this. Whenever you have, a shift in power, Republicans, Democrats, it's always going to be a bunch of chaos. And then the next party coming in and trying to fix it. Did you hear the latest one where I think they was talking about, a Democratic Socialist Party? Like, who needs another party?
Yeah, we don't need no another party. We need people to prioritize Americans first. Like the Democrats showed us that during the Biden election that they didn't prioritize Americans. They was allowing people to come into this country, thrive, funding their well-being and all of that, and speaking as if Americans didn't exist. Then when Trump was running, he had roused up people that identify as Americans by saying that he was American first. And then he started prioritizing other things, and it just shows that no party.
It's just got convoluted, right?
Yeah.
It's so convoluted because then they put the pressure on them and say, okay, well, we're gonna put you on trial for this and da 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 da. So as I'm gonna say, if I was corrupt, I would be doing this every day. You don't even know where to look because every day is something different. But that's just kind of throwing shit into the, feeding into the game by putting this headline out here. So you really don't know where to put that fire out, literally, because there's so many little fires everywhere to distract.
They really got
really
black
good.
people distracted right now too, because with that Nolan Wells situation in Mississippi, somebody
It's
recently,
always something.
it's 3 of them going on for black people that is unexplainable right now. It's one in Louisville, Kentucky. I hate to say the location and not the people's name because I can't remember right
Right.
now. And I learned about it as I was getting on live. But it's so many unexplainable deaths from young black people in Louisville, Kentucky, one somewhere in North Carolina, another one in Mississippi. It's just so much going on that we prioritizing that they got our minds off of something else that's happening elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off of what we really should be focused on, but it exposes the systems for exactly what they are. It's justice for you, but it's weight for me.
Yeah.
And what also angers me is that even when you talk about the disenfranchised population in the United States, veterans, homelessness, everybody should be upset. Everybody should be able to come together and say, okay, we're going to come together, overthrow the system or whatever the case might be. When you look at places like, what was that happened where they didn't want, where they were, what is it, Albania, where they all came together to make sure that Kushner and them didn't infringe on their land. Like that's showing that you have power.
Mm-hmm.
But people get together for what? To sing? To hold up posters? No, it has to be like, no, we bum rushing, because how many members are in our Congress and our Senate?
Mm-hmm. It don't even have to be like a march. It doesn't have to be announced. It doesn't have to be an argument. It just needs to be an alignment of a group of people that we are not standing for this no more. We're going to position ourselves to do this, what specifically, and we just going to stand on it, and ain't nobody going to participate in this no more.
Period.
I remember texting you last week about I was at a beauty supply, a Asian beauty
Right. Wait,
supply.
so right. What happened? What happened with that?
I seen
What happened with the whole
yeah.
thing, right?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a predominantly black city, and I seen so many people going in. It seemed like it was Chick-fil-A or McDonald's. It was so many people going in and out of the Asian
Did
beauty
they have like some specials going on, or was it just a regular day?
It was a regular day. I was across the street at the Quick Trip looking over there like, damn, I thought we was boycotting them. They booming over there, and it wasn't no other ethnicity but us.
But and I will say this. When it comes to that particular part of the market, I do know some black-owned cash stores, and their prices are marked up 25, sometimes 50% higher than what you can get, because they are dealing with them directly. You understand what I'm saying? And again, though, if we would just make a sacrifice, again, here we are, those sacrifices. Now it's more it's digital, right? Technology, where we can't even make any excuses, because we can collectively come together. That's why you have a podcast that you do where like-minded people come and sharing their thoughts and come together, collaborate, whatever the case might be. We have hashtags. But it's like you'll have something that's going on for a week, and then it's like, okay, on to the next. Because it's like it's almost a culture of ADHD / doom scrolling. It's on to the next. As soon as, okay, well, let's talk about Nolan Wells. Okay, so, all right, once everything is revealed, so let's say hypothetical, well, not hypothetical, but let's say it's revealed that he was murdered, right? Then what? Well, what's going to happen next? I'm just saying what
I'm listening to you. I don't know what will happen next, because
are we just gonna get up on the podcast? We're gonna get out here. We want to talk. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to get on a bus? Are we going to get on a plane? We're gonna get on the trains. We're gonna go to Mississippi. We're gonna hold their feet to the fire. What are we going to do? And you asked me about Tuskegee. With it being in Alabama, I'm going to tell you, even being accepted into the program, I was hesitant, because I was like, I'm not going to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? Back then, this was back 2000, 2001. I was like, no, I could not get past it being in the South and having to possibly deal with the things that I knew were associated with Alabama.
The time you lived in the South, how did you feel? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, see, I've lived in Georgia, but again, Atlanta is booming. It's predominantly what? Black. So because I was moving and shaking, I didn't feel. I've never felt like I was inferior to anyone, right? More so, I want to say in my first year or two of college, when I was looking at students who were from out of the country, so to speak. So I'm going to say like Asians, a lot of Asians at the one school that I did attend. And I remember their parents shipping them over BMW, like just straight off, like fresh. that year. I remember this one girl, she had crashed her car and they sent her one the next week. So it was like a class thing. You understand what I'm saying? But down south, I never felt those feelings except when I drove towards Macon. And it was like a field full of cotton, and I got like the heebie-jeebies, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, this ain't for me. You know, I got to get up and out because I felt genuinely what may have, occurred or that our ancestors encountered, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And I was like, yo, I can't even see myself out there with somebody putting a whip to my back or me out there working 10 hours in the sun picking cotton.
I'm thankful that I didn't have to experience that. You coming from the north though, you had to come into, unless you flew in Atlanta, you had to come into Atlanta from that South Carolina area, that north. I mean, coming from the east, you had to come in from that southeast.
Yeah,
part.
I used to make that drive like 2 or 3 times. So if I wasn't taking a plane, I drove it. And coming to South Carolina, that's one place I hated driving through South Carolina. Hated it. North Carolina, it was cool. Even parts of Virginia. But South Carolina is like, all right, let me just make sure I don't get stopped. I don't get no tickets.
I'm gonna tell you something though. That's actually like me living in this area, this Charlotte, this Atlanta, this South Carolina. This whole area is nothing but 2 to 3 hours all the way down to Jacksonville. That part of South Carolina is actually kind of bougie though. It seemed like it's nothing when you riding on the highway, but if you get off, it's kind of like just open field land and big mansions and stuff like that. And it's mostly black people.
And that's the thing. Even I've spent some time in Biloxi, in Mississippi, and it's just different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You see where people are living, obviously. But sometimes it's in those parts it feels like almost like time has stood still.
Yeah, I don't belong here. It's still 19.
I don't belong here, right?
I experienced 2026, but all of a sudden I just drove back to 1995.
Right. And maybe that where I'm at now in life, I wouldn't mind slowing down, but I just don't know if it could be in a place like a Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? I mean, never say never, but you look at again situations like that with Nolan Wells, and I really hope that there wasn't any foul play, and I hope that that's what's revealed, and we can put it to rest.
Yeah,
But
I do too. I can't keep. It's so many moving parts to that conversation. I can't even keep up with it because you will have to be informing yourself on that, like how you do your job or however you obtain your finances 8 hours a day, because it's a lot of moving parts to the Nolan Wells situation right now.
it is right, and it's always gonna be something else that's fueling a flame in the fire. You
Hmm.
got to Ben Crump. Every time you turn around, he hopping on something for some money. Then you got Errol Sharpman. He might pull his pencil head out the dirt every time there's something in regards to it. And so you can't help but to feel like, it's nothing but a bunch of race baiting going on. Whenever
Hmm.
and then they pulling up together. And it makes me feel like here we are in 2026 again with all these graduates from HBCUs, not just HBCUs, Ivy League, that have
Yeah.
attended law school, which I know is it's almost, but even law school is coveted the same way like veterinary medicine. It's very much coveted when it comes to good old boys club and who you know. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's like that for a reason because no, they don't want us there unless you are willing to play the game. Here you got a Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court. Like that's a whole nother story. But
You
he
sound like
goes,
what Diane was saying too. It's certain families and it's certain races that has sectors of the financial system in America
a
that they
lot.
control. Like the agents control the
The
higher
hair
system.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food, travel. It's more industries. I just can't name them right now, but it's more industries that's being controlled by families and certain instances of races and stuff like that. It's just, you know,
But
informing
that's the
ourselves
thing.
is good.
I really wish that in that tangible package when we talking about that we would take ownership of the things that we create. That would definitely be a part of my plan. So I want to land my plane with saying that when it comes to creating, I want us to not only create, but to own it and to stop selling it and giving it away for wooden nickels. That would definitely be a part of my plan. And I just really thank you for letting me talk on a late night tip, you know.
Thank you,
You know, we ain't just go on and on. You know, we'll just keep going on and on, right? So
Most definitely. I thank you for your time, Tiffany. I genuinely appreciate you. Have a blessed morning.
all right, we do the same.
All right, all right. Let me give Tiffany a round of applause, man, and I'm gonna read a few of Diane comments. Let me give her a round of applause, real talk. Thank y'all for tapping in with the kid. It's 12:11 a.m. right now. Diane said it's called Agenda 2030. Look that up. It's talking about Black Americans and Hispanics about how we have been treated. I'm gonna look that up for real, Diane. That's interesting. Agenda 2030. They always say we are the minority, but that lies. But that's lies too. We have the numbers. We are the majority in this country. But because our leaders have did us so messed up, they don't teach us that. That's interesting. I don't, the majority in this country, in America, in the Southeast maybe, but I don't know about all across the board. Real talk, Diane. The majority in this country, you have to educate me on that, Diane. Real talk. I don't know if blacks are the majority of this country, and we allowing what is happening to us to happen. If we are the majority, I don't think that is. You got to give me a statistic, Diane. Text me an article or something showing that we the majority, so I can pull it up on the screen and break it down and read it. Please, the majority. We are the majority in America. I ain't trying to disapprove what you're saying, but black people are the majority in America? Hold up, Diane. Let me tell you who gives white people their numbers. It's Latinos. Our government allows Latinos to go on the census as white, and that what gives them their numbers. That's true. I know about that also because, you know, it's even black people that choose white. You can choose whatever you want to. It's a multiple choice question. And most people want to identify with who they perceive to be the dominant race. Even though that's lame as hell, I ain't choosing nothing because I make my own decisions. Salute the timestamp, Tiffany, one more time. I sincerely appreciate you. She said, yes, in America. No, sir. In this whole country, we are the majority. Somebody educate me on, send me an article, send me something. Is black people the majority of the United States, or is that just a false statistic that I've been taught my whole life? Please, somebody. Let's get into this. Condoms in the chicken at Popeyes. Lord have mercy. They targeting us again with the food, with the air, with the finances, with the slavery, with all type of stuff. They just targeting black people's wants and stuff. And these folks fly, ain't they? Buddy got on a suit with the vest with the Ray-Ban glasses. Shawty got on the hat with the pearls and the diamonds and the glasses with the fist logo on the jacket. They fresh, ain't they? What they talking about? Let's go.
Hello?
Hello?
Is the manager here? Are you the manager?
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
We need to talk to you about a very serious situation.
Okay.
Extremely serious. This young man, where's my young brother? Come here, young brother. This young brother was sitting here eating with also a member of his family not too long ago, this weekend. He broke open his chicken. He bought the chicken from here. He sat down in here, opened up the chicken, and the chicken had a condom in it. a condom. There's the video right there of them opening the chicken, and you can tell the condom was cooked in the chicken. If you look at the whole video, it was cooked in the chicken. When they came up here to speak to you all about it, they laughed at him. They thought it was funny.
Do you know what time it was? I was in
What time was it, young brother? It's on the receipt. Here's the receipt. Here's the receipt. Why the police were not called and notified that you have some freak in the kitchen? Because that was cooked in the chicken. So you got some freak in the back, in the kitchen, playing with himself and choking the chicken and stroking the chicken at the same time. This is a sick individual. We don't know what diseases is in the condom.
So again,
We don't know what
I'm
germ.
not sure if it was
You need to call the GM. You need to call the owner. You need to call corporate.
He even had to go
brothers
to the
and sisters.
emergency room
Be
behind
careful
him.
what you eat in this
I would
Popeyes.
not be ordering none of this damn
The chicken is coming with used
The
condoms
chicken
in
had
it.
used condoms in it. Don't you order none of that
So-
chicken. Get your money back.
My concern is if you eat this chicken, you might want to decide if you want to swallow or spit.
Yeah.
But that's how sick and nasty it is eating this damn Popeyes.
The boy went to the emergency room. We got everything. Police report, everything. Y'all better go to another Popeye's chicken.
So if you
'Cause
like,
they choking chickens in here.
if you like eating chicken with condoms in it, step
Then
right on up and
step
get your
right
two-piece
on
for a special.
Make sure you get a Trojan special. Step right on up.
And they thought it was funny. Matter of fact, we'll show you the video. Where's
I
that
got
video?
it right here.
Y'all come take a look at the video. Come look at it. All you customers, come look at it. Watch this video. Wait, push pause on it for a second. Let them all come around. Watch this. Let everybody come around. We want y'all to watch this now. Look at this. Look.
Condom in the chicken.
Look. Condom inside, fried in the chicken. Look at it. Watch it. Watch it. He's got to break it out. Look at it. Look.
Condom in the chicken.
Look. Look at this nasty, filthy shit. Look at this. You don't know whose DNA you chewing on in Popeyes today. Look at this sickness.
Look at it. Show them.
Look at this.
Y'all better get y'all money back.
Look at this. You can tell the condom was fried and cooked
And
in the
laid to
chicken.
side.
Look at this.
So I want.
Shouted the police beside him. I'm starting to. It's giving scam. It's giving scam. Look at his eyes. Am I wrong? This is giving scam. Condom in the chicken. Lord help me. I love her, but she cussed too much. She's doing a great job for people who don't have a voice, but she cuss on camera. She's not professional. Knowing that what she's doing will be seen by all. I don't like people that cuss a lot neither. That mean they ain't articulate, Diane. I agree with you on that. You don't have to cuss because you need filler words because you don't know how to articulate yourself and finish your sentence. I agree with that, Miss Diane. Robin Mutual said, boycott Popeyes. Damn. Hey, y'all hell, boy. The census has always been a lie. How many presidents were actually black or mulatto passing for white? I love conversing with females. They are very educational. I love my brothers and stuff though, but majority of the educational things that I have learned has came from women. Women are always researching, reading, and making themselves knowledgeable. And ladies, I want to give y'all a round of applause because I learn from women. Sometimes I might have to hold y'all accountable when stuff sound a little bit, a little extra because y'all be multitasking. Y'all good at multitasking, and I want to tell black women something about multitasking that I learned. But I want to give y'all a round of applause first. What I learned is that multitasking is the number one thing that causes Alzheimer's. Research it. Don't trust me, don't believe me, but they say that multitasking is something that can cause Alzheimer's, and women get Alzheimer's, that's what it's called, more than men most of the time because of the multitasking aspect. I could be wrong though. Diane said her mouth is very nasty. I did a video on her. She is not professional at all, and black women and she shows black women in a negative light because of how she talks. But she does a great job. You know, you can do a great job, but if you can't articulate yourself, everybody ain't gonna be able to understand what you're talking about. So Tiffany said, and I just read this book about the assassination of Lincoln. You're spitting facts. I love it. Let's go back to the video for a moment. Let me be quiet. This is Give a Scam.
And if it's
This is
lifestyle,
crazy. Take a look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The condom is fried in the chicken.
in the chicken.
I'm worried about all you women. Don't eat this chicken because you might not know who your baby daddy is afterwards.
No!
This is sick. This is pathetic. This is filthy. And they thought it was funny.
They did.
And they thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to know who the chicken clucker that's back there over here freaking chicken and stuff.
Matter of fact, need to go outside and show the folks in the drive-thru too.
Yeah.
What kind of chicken that they eating up in this damn place?
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, let's do that.
Where's management though? I need corporate.
Talk about the police being called, you know, like.
And what was even more sad, when the young brother called the police thought it was funny and said, well, there's been no crime committed, so we can't give you a report. Dr. Matthews had to get on the cops and make them take a report. How you going to say somebody's sticking a used condom in somebody's chicken in the back of this place is not a crime? That is absolutely a crime. We don't know what bodily fluids, we don't know what STDs may be in that condom from some sick human being. If he's that type of pervert, how long he's been stroking and playing with chicken in the back? People may need to get some type of damn STD testing eating at this Popeyes. Mm-hmm. And they thought it was funny. HPD should be ashamed of themselves.
I'm going to finish that topic of discussion off. I got one more topic of discussion, and I want to read the ladies' comments. But I want to say something because, you know, we are indigenous to this land, but we have adopted the colonizer's diet. I want to say that again. We are indigenous to this land, but we have adopted the colonizer's diet. And we also have to prioritize what the diet originally was. And we also have to search how to eat based upon blood type. If you know what your blood type is, then you have to learn how to eat based upon blood type. Because, you know, I realized what my blood type was, and I'm not going to be specific on here about it, but I realized that I couldn't consume meats or animal products because I couldn't digest it, and I would have had had a colonoscopy earlier than I needed to because, you know, when I was consuming meats, I wasn't using the restroom as often as I should have. So eat based upon blood type. Go to your birth certificate or whatever and find out what your blood type is and eat based upon blood type. Don't go to no Popeyes and eat no condoms and no chicken. Don't go to nobody drive-through and eat none of this artificial stuff. That's just what I want to say in closing to this conversation, because a lot of people will want something fast because we live a fast life in America. And we always on the go, and we always trying to get to the paper so we can survive and live a comfortable life. But what I want to say in closing to that is that, you know, you got to prioritize yourself first. And going to Popeye's chicken ain't it. Real talk. I'm getting ready to pull up another conversation, and I'm about done for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in to my show. I'm very appreciative. I really do appreciate y'all. I got where is the what did I do with that conversation? Hold on. I got one more conversation I want to pull up. Here it go, dropping knowledge. This is a barber talking about white supremacy. He explained it, and this is a old conversation, but I like to learn, man. It don't matter if it's old or new; it still pertains to my people. So Tiffany said that women are always holding it down, taking are of so much, especially if she has a family, career, and this life in general is so chaotic. If you don't take the time to decompress, most definitely you got to decompress. Back then, you could only hold office for 1 year. They could never get anything passed, so they drew up the Constitution, adding 4 more years. I'm gonna read Tiffany. So decompress, care. Yeah, yeah. I want to play this video right quick, y'all. Make sure that once y'all get off of the live, go check out my latest single that I just released. It's called Fast Lane. Off of my new album, If Not Me, Then Who. I know this is totally off topic, but I've been working hard on this project, and I released the Lady Records. I released the introspective record called The Opportunist, and I'm releasing a street record tonight called Fast Lane. Go check that out once y'all get off of the live. I greatly appreciate y'all. But let's listen to this brother drop knowledge on white supremacy. I'm looking forward to hearing what he got to say. This is the last topic that I'm going off of this thing after this. Thank y'all. Y'all far too kind.
Different from New York are just incidental. The problem exists because white people think they're better than black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed.
This is I agree with you perfectly. This is the basic problem.
Then what do you
that
want to
white
talk to me
people
about?
think they're better
What's
than
it that I can
others.
do? I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it in Alabama. And I can say you because you're part of the whole system. You profit from it. In fact, you make your living from it. You couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated.
Well,
so you can have him. And here's what I'll say. I wish you would follow Jesus like we followed him. Because if you did that, then we'd be in charge tomorrow. I think the problem is so bad that we can have no understanding at all.
You think it's gotten to the point where there can never be that reconciliation?
No. You talk about justice, and it means one thing to you, and we talk about it and means something else to us. And it'll always be that way. And I'd like you to know I have a terrible feeling against preachers, because I think you guys are the ones who are largely responsible for the problem in the first place. And you can accept it or not any way you choose. And for you, this may be an excursion, you know, across the line.
What about the person that wants to listen? I genuinely feel that I want to listen.
Well, if you listen and try to do something, you get kicked out of your church. See, that's the way your people are.
Well, we can make changes. So the changes that have come have been drastic.
God bless you, little brother. Come back and see us again sometime. And don't look back in anger. Thanks for taking it so well. He thought we were going to do in here like they do to us. If we went in one of their places, everybody would have jumped out their chairs and got some ropes together and hung one of us. We couldn't even go in one of their places like this.
Yeah.
Which is the bigger threat to American democracy and the Constitution? A Vietnamese mother suckling her child, or a white racist governor in Alabama who says, in so many words, to hell with the Constitution and Johnson and everything else? Which is the greater threat to democracy?
This is true. These people have a kind of self-deception. You know, they believe, they've circulated these myths so long that they've begun to believe them. And once you believe them, as they say, if you define a situation as being real, it will be real in its consequences. And this is just what's happened. They've come to actually believe this. And any evidence to the contrary, he's the exception. But the fact is, all the people who do struggle hard enough to accumulate a down payment, they do want something better for themselves and for their kids, and they hope that their neighbors will be the same kind of people that they are.
A black man fights for the white man, not for himself. He tells you to bleed and you bleed. He said, go bleed in Korea for the white man, and you go bleed because you have to. He tells you to go to Vietnam or Lebanon or Laos, and we have to bleed. Then in Mississippi or Alabama or Omaha, Nebraska, where they're taking our rights and we know who the people are who are taking them, we don't have any blood then. We're radical. Just because we want to get the rights that we fight overseas for so the white man can have. We fight over there to defend his women and children and defend his land from attack. And while we're over there fighting for him, our own people are being attacked by the same white people over here we're supposed to.
Listen. Listen. What Tiffany just said in this comment section was so pivotal because she was there when I did the show. The show that I did got over 250,000 streams about Jay-Z, his performance at the Yankee Stadium. This show got 6 people on the live that actually care about our people. I'm going to read her comment. That actually care about our people, that actually is genuine about seeing us evolve, giving a perspective, consistently educating themselves until they're in the casket. They're going to continuously educate themselves. Education about our history moving forward is permanent in the people that is here ideology. But most folks don't want to be educated. They want to be entertained. I don't know it all. But what I do know, I want to share with the people. I want the people who do know it all to educate me. And I'm here and I'm receptive to the information. Let me read Tiffany's comment. You would think that more of our people would gather together to have these discussions. But where are they? Question mark. Yet the chat was flooded until 3 a.m. We started at 8 and went till 3 a.m. for Jay-Z to hit the stage. They awaited Jay-Z to hit the stage. We had 2,500 people in this live for 6.5, 7 hours. But when we talk about something that could evolve us that is not entertaining, niggas ain't nowhere to be found because it's a difference between niggas and black people. Jesus Christo. Diane said, everybody in the world is a person of color. If you see a white person anywhere in the world, they actually hold a dual citizenship. I ain't saying you wrong, Diane, but I know some white people that don't even know who they actually are. You know, a lot of people that identify with white and they don't identify with their indigenous roots. White people don't have to say that they're European Americans. White people don't have to say that they're Italian Americans. White people don't have to say that they're, whatever, United Kingdom Americans. They identify as white. They don't identify as, how we and Jesse Jackson created the African American system for us to identify with, or the black, or the Negro, or the colored, all of these different ideologies for us to identify with instead of indigenous Americans. indigenous to this land. You know, that's why there is a fine line between creating substance versus ignorance. The masses flock to purchase nonsense, and that's what I struggle with as I create. You know, Tiffany, I'm thinking about my project and my album that I'm releasing and that I just released. Um, and no matter the numbers, no matter how much money I obtain, I just want to be able to get out my thoughts before I'm not here no more and publish them and copyright them and give them to the world because most people I want women to hear this more than men right now. Most people that create genuine pieces of art do not get celebrated until they are not here anymore. Let me give myself a round of applause for that. And why do we always look for a leader when most of them are lost their damn selves? Diane said, no, I get that, but saying when it comes to the census, see, we got to understand that the census plays a big part of how they share money in our neighborhoods. Mm. How they share money in our neighborhoods. I paused, Diane, because that caught my attention. How they share money in our neighborhoods. So when you say that, are you saying that they are putting the money in our neighborhoods because we don't have communities? I learned that from the OG Star. We don't have communities because we don't own hospitals, banks, necessities. Are you saying they sharing money in our neighborhood? Their money is what's creating the circulation in our neighborhoods. Educate me. I received that message, Trevor, about putting out your art. I have such great questions for you. Thank you. I'm ready to work. Correct, Miss Diane. Share, disperse, and also destroy. Um, we got somebody new that tapped into the show. We appreciate you for tapping in. Also, the census does not fairly allocate the funds in our communities. Communities or neighborhoods, Juniper Joy? Communities or neighborhoods? Define what is a community. Do we have a community based upon the definition of a community? Or are you talking about a neighborhood? Because I want to be educated on communities and neighborhoods. The census is very important. Even if you are Irish or anything from European, they put under white. Oh, Juniper smart. Shit. They came back quick, Juniper. All people was going against the system. Juniper Joy said neighborhoods. That's true, Juniper. That's true. I hate that to say that we don't have communities, but when I listen to my boy Star and Timestamp Tiffany, we both tapped into Star about 5 years ago when he explained what a community was. You know, they feed themselves and not just farmers market. They have their own greenhouses so they can't spray the chemtrails on the vegetables and fruit and the rice and stuff. Because you can have your own farm, you can have your own stuff in your backyard, but if you can't protect it from the chemtrails, what do you really have? Real talk. Um, you do we have our own banks? Do we have our own hospitals? If I get sick, you know what I'm saying? Can I go to people that actually really care about me? We have to rebuild and strengthen our communities. That's true though. And Tiffany on her call in, she was just talking about communities and rebuilding our communities. But if you study the Wilmington massacre, not saying that I'm educated, I just done podcast and learned these things. If you study the Wilmington massacre, we created our own community, one of the most thriving communities ever. It was ocean based in North Carolina. If you study I forgot the city in Florida where we had our own community. the Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Red Summer of 1919 in Knoxville, Tennessee, and all the way up 55 and 75, all the way up towards Chicago when we had our own communities. We had them, but we couldn't protect them. By us not being able to protect them, why build something and you can't protect it? I just want to be educated on it because I feel like we got to protect it. Who in this room took the COVID shot? I didn't, Diane. I couldn't take it. We do have banks now, and that's true, but we only have banks in select cities, and that's like Georgia and Charlotte. That's the only places I know. DC, maybe Baltimore, you know. But that's all I know. Let me let this brother cook a little bit more, and then I want to read some more of y'all comments because y'all cooking tonight. I appreciate y'all.
Be fighting to defend. Right. Everybody's got something to fight for, right? You got the rights that you fought for. Do you feel that? Do you feel, Sergeant? And I got out. Do you feel that you're living under those rights now?
Why should he go over there and fight the Vietnamese? They've done nothing to him. Working right in this own country, he can go places and he can't even get in a hotel. I mean, and he can drive in a place and might not even be able to get gas if the people don't look at your license plate and see where you're from. That's what he was talking about.
Have you ever been in Hawaii?
Yeah.
What do you think about you? They're black as you are, and I am, right?
Yeah.
Okay then. What a bottle of beer cost you? 80 cents, don't it? Will they speak to you? Because they got long, pretty hair.
No, that's not what the white men got there and contaminated them.
You can't go to places in Japan, man.
You know what? You know why? The American white men.
Yeah, but the Japanese gonna keep you out of why?
But look, man, let me say this now. Even if you go some other over there and they mistreat you, well, you can't feel too bad, 'cause that's not your home. But when you come to your own home and be mistreated, then you really feel mistreated. This is my home here. And if it's being fight, we should fight here.
Amen. Right.
You know what I mean? Why go over there and fight?
Have you ever been turned away from a hotel by a Vietnamese, by a Chinese, a Japanese, a Korean, a Lebanese? How about a white man? Yeah. Then if we should fight the man who's hurting us, and the white man is one, and he lives in this country.
At the very same time that America...
Few particulars that make almost...
What do you think about the vaccine and Fauci on trial? That was a psychological test to see who was going to follow the guidelines. I agree with you on that, Tiffany. And a lot of people did follow the guidelines because they was fearful. You know, it comes to a time in life to where you have to choose to be obedient to the structure or die. You know, during that COVID era, I was dealing with so much in my life. That was probably one of the most transformational times of my life, to where I had to make a decision about my mom, about jobs, about taking the shot. I had to take loans out to get a home. That vaccine, when they presented that to us, all the scarcity that we was dealing with, all the cardiovascular work that I was doing, walking in the heat, trying to sweat out impurities and things like that, I was willing to die before I took that shot. I ain't even gonna cap to y'all. Let me read Diane's comment. Howard Stern said about 15 years ago that rap was worse than slavery, and he is so right. Do you see how they are going against rap in a soft way right now? That's why you saw Nikki at the White House. Diane, I'm an artist myself, a rapper, and I've rapped and done records with people that's in the music industry, a lot of people. You know, I'm plugged in with a lot of people that's in the music industry, heavy, that I can just call right now. It ain't rap that they going at. They're going at the structure and the people that's obedient to the structure that want to keep their finances going. You know, a lot of these artists sell their soul immediately just to get the opportunity to get on. The difference that you can tell about the person that you're listening to right now is that I've been creating music at a high level since '03, and I never signed a contract. I never got on, and I had the opportunity to multiple times. I've been around Diddy. I'm on a Bad Boy album. You know, I'm on the first song on 8 Ball and MJG's Bad Boy release. I'm on a Cash Money album featured. And I had the opportunity to sign a deal, but it wasn't real to me. It was fake. I didn't know how they was going to obtain the money, and it was just a loan. I was already straight. So I didn't need to sell myself for the financial uh I was about to say for the financial gain, but for the financial mystery, because it seemed like it was a mystery of how we was going to make this thing pop or what I was going to do. I didn't understand the methods that they was trying to do. So, I don't think that it's rap. I think that it's people that it's authentic in rap, but I think authenticity is rare. And I think that authenticity is rare in media. Authenticity is rare in politicians. Authenticity is rare in your family, in your friends, in your inner circles. It's just interesting, man. Howard Stern. Those vaccines is causing cancer. I agree with you. What Juniper said. Optus Bank and Mechanics and Farmers Bank just merged, creating the largest black-owned bank in the U.S., impacting black communities. $1.27 billion institution. Thank you for that information, Juniper Joy, because I'm gonna have to tap into that. I was not aware of that. Tell me where that's located at, because I'm in Charlotte in the 704, and this is the second largest banking city in the United States. I would assume that those banks that you're speaking of would have to be in Atlanta or Charlotte. They would have to be. Nikki is broke and needs a bag. That's why she was there. Juniper Joy, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Appreciate you, Juniper. That was dope. It's the negative rap. Mm, okay. Oh wow, the bank transaction just occurred on 722. We're gonna have to do some Tiffany, do some research on that. Let's do some commentary on that. For real. Let's make a whole show around that. Nikki said she did the negative rap. She didn't. You understand how bad it was for our people. Just remember, I told you they are doing soft targets at rap. I don't think Nicki was a soft target. I think Nicki was the biggest female artist ever in hip hop. They went after the biggest. I don't think that was a soft target because she might not be my favorite. She might not be the best, but she was the biggest. So I wouldn't consider her a soft target. Wow, in my area. Wow, I got to do some research on that. Yeah, they just invested billions into black banks and they are begging ask ask to borrows. You know what's crazy about Charlotte? I'm gonna tell y'all something that I don't think people understand or have an appreciation for. But I feel like if there is gonna be a community created and there are gonna be a black utopia, not I don't I don't want to say the word black, but indigenous brown Americans or people like us, that's indigenous to this land that has hundreds of years of history in this land as black people. I think that I done traveled the whole nation, traveled the world, but I think that the region for us as a whole where we could thrive at is in the Carolinas. I think that is going to be in the Carolinas. I think South Carolina specifically into Georgia. This Charlotte, South Carolina, Georgia, upwards to Jacksonville, Florida area. I feel like that's the utopia for indigenous Americans. Two of the nation's largest banks have announced a merge to create Optus Bank. Oh, she said with 10 locations across North and South Carolina. That's interesting because I know about some medical stuff that's going on with black people here also. They are begging black people. That word begging caught my attention. They are begging blacks with a decent credit score to come and borrow. The whole South. That's true. There are places that feel like home. Real talk. That is true. Yeah, the North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, top of Florida. They feel like home. Hey man, I appreciate y'all tuning in to my show and staying here conversing with me, educating me on some stuff, man. Ladies, I sorry y'all, my audio, the little connecting thing to the MacBook Pro disconnected. But yeah, what's crazy is that we didn't have zero men come in and converse about this, and I'm kind of upset about that. I ain't gonna hold it against them, but I'm kind of upset about that because I would like for some brothers to further this conversation and tell me their thoughts, but they didn't make themselves, uh, you know, present. They might be working late night though. Tiffany said yes. The economics of the people would be a great show. Mix it up with a live concert. September the 5th, Tiffany. I plan on going live doing the Kanye West concert because he's going home to Chicago to perform at Soldier Field. Soldier Field is a historical football field like the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium and the Green Bay Packers Stadium. It's one of the last original stadiums left, and Kanye West is going home to perform there. I feel like that's going to be an iconic show. So we can implement the education with the foolishness to hopefully spark some minds. Real talk. Send me a text when you come on next time. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diane. I'm gonna be on most likely shit. I gotta go see my mom on the 8th. I'm going to California next the weekend after that. So I'll probably be back on, I don't know, throughout the week sometime, but I'll be back on for sure. Thank you for the dialogue. Wishing everyone a great evening, AM. Yes, I'm thinking of going to Chi-Town for that show. Most definitely. You got that paper, Tiffany. I want to discuss DEI, and they are dismantling the NAACP and the Black Caucus. Why shouldn't they? That's what I'm gonna leave you with. Hold up, hold up. Juniper. I'm going to send you the number. Please call in right quick before I go. Educators, you know a lot. If you want to call in, if you don't want to call in, I'm gonna wait 2-3 minutes after I send this number. Here is the number, Juniper. You got a lot going on, and you're educating us right now, and I want to hear what you got to say. Call into the show and educate us. What did you just say right here? August is the National Black Business Month. We would love to see a full month of business highlights. Most definitely, I would love to contribute to business, to evolving people, to having conversations about what people is trying to do in business. And I'm gonna call you right back. I'm gonna call you right back. Hello?
Please leave your message for 6.
Hold on. I'm gonna call you right back, Juniper, if that was you. 617. Am I speaking with
Trevor.
most
Hey,
definitely?
Trevor.
How you doing tonight, Juniper?
I'm doing well, brother. I'm doing well.
I love your conversation about the bank information that you were speaking of, and you said it was Black August, and you wanted to see some highlights. I would just love to.
Yeah.
I would just love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. You know what? I'm thinking maybe, you could probably do something like highlight some of the Black creators and influencers that highlight, like our Black history, and also you could do something where um, you highlight, where we could obtain the information that maybe like holds like all of the Black businesses that are like obviously FBA, Black owned businesses.
Yes.
Do some shows on those type of businesses, because there are a lot of businesses out there that people don't even know about. Like they don't even think about. It's not just the nail salons. It's not just the blackouts with the, with the blackout and the wealth transfer. I mean, we want to do a wealth transfer all across the board, not just with, Asians, because beyond that, it's a wealth transfer. So it's, we're not just, putting the target on their backs only. It's everyone. It's everyone. Because you hear the story about our Black dollars only stay in our community for like 6 hours.
Yes.
6 hours, and we have almost $2 trillion, of money that we spend. And that's why everyone's always like, everyone's panicking about our Black dollars since we've been delineating, from everyone. But I'm thinking, highlight a lot of Black companies, like, like I said, not just the nail salons, not just the restaurants. There are so many FBA-owned businesses that, they sell wine, they sell, all kind of, spirits, whiskey. They sell toilet tissue, pots and pans, cast iron pots and they sell everything.
I know.
Not just
I know.
what
I know Black businesses that have their own real estate firms that
exactly
their own insurance. They have their own farms. And in North Carolina, it's big on Black business right now. They have their own libraries and stuff. You are right. That needs to be
Trevor,
highlighted.
I need for all of us to really go hardcore, especially in August, but beyond August, obviously. But we have to send out that message. Like August is National Black Business Month, and just go hardcore on all of our businesses, FBA businesses, and just highlight it. And maybe you could do like, you could take a walk outside, maybe interview someone, like, because that's refreshing too. You know what I mean? It's like talk with someone, ask their permission. Is it okay if I spend some time with you and put you on camera and ask some questions about your business so we can highlight your business?
Yeah.
And I think those segments are like, hit the street segments are so interesting, because not only are we getting to see a tour of where you live, you're highlighting, the blocks. You're also highlighting the businesses. You're highlighting the people. You're giving an inside look into, our Black businesses. And a lot of people might have a picture in their mind about what a Black business might look like, and it could be totally opposite. And you can be the man on the streets doing that. And if you don't want to go on the streets, just highlight. You can have like a guest, like a Zoom. Interaction, and highlight like every single day, just hammer it home, just highlight a different Black, an FBA business every single day, just highlight it, whether it's an influencer or a product or, there was this brother, I can't remember his name at the moment.
You gave me
but
a great idea though for doing that to me, because I feel like, since COVID, everybody has been in their closet, their basement, or their room doing these Zooms. And now we want to hear the elements, the birds chirping, the cars riding by.
Exactly. And see, and show how the beauty in our communities. Even if our communities are not rich communities, it is rich with history, with smells, taste, the dishes. It's like if we can highlight FBA businesses,
people will be like, "Oh my goodness, I've been living in North Carolina all this time. I never knew this place existed." It's just get it out there, and just highlight these businesses. Just go hardcore, and and then they're going to get a lot of foot traffic, and it's going to really be in line with the blockout and the wealth transfer, what we're doing anyways, and it's going to go beyond this month. Really nail it home, because a lot of our people that I speak with, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know August was the National Black Business Month." I'm like, yeah. They don't know about it. So this will be an introduction to them, and they'll constantly know it. And I would love to see, Trevor, I'm just going on and on. I'm sorry.
I appreciate you, because that comment that you left about the merger to create Optus Bank really caught my attention. And you said that there was 10 locations being created across North and South Carolina. I feel like this region is pivotal at this point in our life. It is the East Coast Los Angeles. I feel like Myrtle Beach in the next 10 years will become the East Coast Los Angeles.
I hear that. And you know what? A lot of us are coming home. North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Well, a lot of us are coming home.
I see your area code. Them taxes up there, it's brutal.
Woo-wee. And believe me, it's racist. People say, "Oh, where you live, it's much better." I'm like, no, it's probably even more racist.
Yeah, I went and got knowledgeable for the job that I've obtained in Plymouth up there. Plymouth, and I experienced racism like never before. And I'm from Tennessee, and I thought Tennessee was racist. And
that's what I'm saying.
Oh
Trevor,
my God, Plymouth
people
was different.
They're like, "Oh, it's so liberal up north." I'm like,
You're right about that. Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely, I feel like, just highlight, the South, highlight, all the beautiful stuff about us, and our businesses, and, and get people to, kind of urge people to get out of their dark rooms and come out and get some vitamin D from the sun. That's how we, we get electrified in a great way. We get, reboosted, rejuvenated by the sun. We can get our vitamin D naturally. Get out there, get some air, just take a walk, get some exercise, try a new restaurant, try whatever you're going to highlight. I feel like, this is the month to do it, Trevor. This is the month to definitely do it.
Most definitely. August is the month. It's the warmest.
Yes.
It's the warmest month of the year, and our people thrive in warmth.
We do. You see all these people in Europe. They're like, there are people passing out, dying from the sun. But not our people. Not our people.
No, we electrified.
We got that melanin, but and they want that melanin. But also, I want to remind you, Trevor, we have an anniversary. I don't know. I have to remind you that this is our 3rd anniversary for the Montgomery Brawl on August 5th. So you need to do a show about that. Okay. The white chairs, the cap going up in the air, the brothers swimming in the water.
What day is that? It's in
August 5th. August 5th.
Okay.
5.
I'm writing that down.
So
August 5th.
Make sure you do a segment on that, because that's our Juneteenth in August.
Yeah. Okay. Hey,
that's our holiday.
I appreciate you for tapping into my show. I'm very thankful.
Thank you for inviting me, Trevor. I so appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. I just got off another live and I saw you on. I was like, oh, let me tap in. So I'm glad I tapped in. Thank you so much. Thank you. And keep doing what you're doing.
I'm going to try my best to keep enhancing the conversation. You have a blessed day.
You too. Bye, Trevor.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hey, let me give Shawty a round of applause, man. Boy, the ladies held us down tonight. In closing to this show, I want to tell y'all peace, love, plenty of abundance. Make sure, if you don't make sure, you don't do nothing else. Peace, love, plenty abundance, make sure you go get you some paper, and I'm gone. Chill.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The thoughts, views shared here are just that, views. We just conversing, sharing perspective while having fun. So don't take this shit personal, and definitely don't try this at home. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Let's get to it.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.